Wow. Hi, you guys. Can you just reach out and touch the person beside you? Do you know why? Feel that? That's connection. That is connection. And people need people. And today I need you. And I'm so grateful to each and every single one of you. And I know you've come from far and wide to be here today. But what is a speaker without an audience? Who is there to speak to? So thank you. People need people and I need you. So thank you for being here today. My name is Melanie Kerr, and on Monday I attended a funeral for a 74-year-old man, and it was beautiful. He was flamboyant and creative, and his friends came together and celebrated his life. The week before that I attended 2 funerals. The week before that I attended another funeral, and the week before that I attended 4. I'm not just going there for the club sandwiches and the cups of tea afterwards. This is my role, and this has been my life for the past 20 years as I've worked as a funeral celebrant, leading hundreds of families and thousands of broken hearts through the process that is funeral. So what does that look like? I work as an independent funeral celebrant, so I work alongside the teams that are in the funeral homes, but not for them. So they'll ring me and they'll say, Mel, are you available to take care of a family on Wednesday? They've lost their son. He was 24. Can you do it? Yes, I can. So my role is then to pick up the phone and to call that boy's broken-hearted mother and say, hey, I'm Melanie. You don't know me, but I love you, and I'm here for you for this next week. And then I drive to their home and I sit inside their most intimate of spaces in their home with the family. And as often the way here in New Zealand, we bring our deceased home. So oftentimes our young man is in his casket and we sit around and we talk about him with his broken-hearted mum and his broken-hearted father, and his sister and his dog comes and puts its head on my knee. And I'm in the most intimate moments with these families as they navigate the unimaginable. And we laugh and we talk about his character and how he just qualified as a builder and he had great hopes for his future. And we talk about how he liked to drink and party and had a tendency to take his clothes off when he got drunk. And we talk about his friends and how he was so loyal and good. And then I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm absorbing and I'm listening. And I'm in that family's space and I'm in their most intimate. I'm in their hearts. They welcome me in. I write and write and write and I take it all home. And then I sit in my office space and with him in my heart and them in my head, I consider how can I best deliver to these people when I hold space for them on the day of the funeral. Please give me the words that will best land with them to guide them through this most unimaginable tragedy. And so I write. And then I turn up on the day and I hold space for 1,500 broken hearts because the whole community has come out. Such is the power of community. That's why I got you to touch each other. Such is the power of connection, human connection. And the whole community comes out, and I speak to rugby players, the boys from his team. I speak to his schoolmates. I speak to his girlfriends. He was handsome. I speak to his mum and his dad, and I have one chance to move these people from this liminal space, this space that is funeral, such a precious space, from life with him in the world to life with him not here any longer. And then I go home and I cry on the way home in the car. And then 2 days later, I do it all again for a 90-year-old lady who died peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by her family, and it's rich and full, and her life was amazing. And then 3 days later, I do it all again for a 56-year-old man. And then 2 days later, I do it all again for a 22-year-old. And then another week, I do it for a 5-year-old. How do I do it? And so when people hear that this is what I do for a living, they say to me, first thing they say to me, can you imagine what it is? They say, I could never do that. I would cry. I say, I cry. I've got very good waterproof mascara and I cry. The second thing people say to me is, how do you do that? How have you sustained yourself over 20 years and for the last 7 years full-time as a funeral celebrant? How have you sustained yourself? And so the things I share with you today are the lessons that walking alongside death has taught me about living, or the gifts that death has offered. And death does offer gifts if we're brave enough to receive them. So these things I share with you today, I know in my heart of my heart of my heart of my hearts to be true for me. because these are the things that have sustained me, and these are the lessons that walking alongside death has taught me about living. Death is the great leveler. Each and every one of us, black, white, rich, poor, every single one of us, young or old, like that little pot of yogurt in the back of the fridge, we have an expiry date printed on our lids. And we can't see it. We can't see it. And thank goodness we can't see it. But if we hold that in our minds, how differently would your conversations have been this morning as you ran out the door and stressed to face the Auckland traffic to get here on time? What did you say to the people you love most as you walked out the door? What would be your final words? Would you say them differently to the colleagues that you left this morning or this afternoon to get here? Death is the great leveler, and it comes to all of us. And if we pop that in the back of our minds, how differently would we conduct ourselves? Everyone's heart breaks. I officiated the service of a gentleman. He was a scholar. He had given generously to his community. He had raised money for community events. He was beloved by his community, and hearts broke. 2 days later, I officiated the service of a scallywag. He was in the gangs. He'd spent time in the Milton Hilton, read prison. He had raced around on motorbikes. He'd caused a lot of pain in his life. True story, at his funeral, they were cracking cans of bourbon and cola. It was a sweary, laughy, vibrant, angry, sweary funeral. And hearts broke. Everyone's heart breaks. Grief manifests differently. Of course it does. But everyone's heart breaks. Everyone has their cross to bear. So I don't know. I'm standing here and I'm looking at this beautiful lady. I don't know you, but I know you've had struggles. I don't know the strength that's taken you to get here today. I don't know you, good sir, but I know that you've been strong and you face heartache and pain. I don't know what your cross is. I don't know what the weight is that you carry. I don't know that, and it's not for me to know that. But if I bear this in mind, as I interact with you going throughout my day, if I bear this in mind, then it will make me more gentle in my interactions with others, because everyone has their story, everyone has their cross to bear. We've heard it before. Someone quoted Maya Angelou, who said, people may not remember what you said and they may not remember what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. I promise you this. On the day of your funeral, people will not stand up there and say, I loved Pete because he was rich. They won't. I've never heard it in hundreds of funerals I've officiated. Not once. They'll say, I loved Pete because he was generous. Or he gave me an opportunity, or he spent time with me. If I had $1 for every time I've heard people say, Mum would stand me up on a stool beside her as she cooked, as she baked, and she'd let me lick the spoon. And when she did that, I felt seen, I felt chosen, I felt special. How do people feel when you're around them? How do people, what is the fragrance that lingers after you have gone? How do you make people feel? People say to me, you are so positive. How have you done that? How do you stay so positive in the face of all of this? And so from the lessons that I've just shared with you, that death has taught me about living, I've put together a framework that I choose to use, and it's kind of little rules that I apply for myself. And these are the things that I do. I stand at all times in truth and integrity. That means that when I speak to you, beautiful lady, and I say something to you, I'm not going to turn around behind your back and say something different. I'm accountable for my actions. And that is especially including the words that come out of my mouth. I believe absolutely in the power of the spoken word to effect change, positive change and negative. You're either building something up with your words or you're tearing it down. I know this to be true. So I stand at all times in truth and integrity, especially what comes out of my mouth, but also my inner dialogue. Melly, you've got this. You're doing great. You've got this. You're brave. You can do it. You've got the right words. You're the right person for this job. Always building myself up with my words. I have to. I have to be brave. I have to be strong. And I encourage you to do the same. I exercise fierce grace for all the reasons I've explained to you, because everyone has an expiry date, everyone has their cross to bear, and everyone's heart breaks. And I promise you, you might be thinking, why is she telling this to us at a business TEDx talk? But I promise you that all of these things can be transposed across any aspect of your life to make you a more positive, connected leader, mother, father, coach. I promise you this. Exercise fierce grace. Does that mean I'm perfect? Oh, no, it does not. But it means that so long as I'm working inside of my firm boundaries, I can extend grace to people, because as soon as you step outside of your boundaries, that's when resentment comes in, and that's a whole nother story, isn't it? I exercise aggressive positivity. People go, oh, toxic positivity, not good. But I tell you this, that's toxic. No. As I'm standing beside a mum and she's putting her son in the ground, toxic positivity, no. Positivity, aggressive positivity is all I've got to cling to sometimes. I like to think of positivity as, I imagine it to be a muscle like this. You know those big muscle people that go to the gym? Did you go to the gym? You don't just get those big muscles, do you? You don't just wake up like that. You've got to exercise those muscles every day, right? And so if you could see me and my positivity muscle, it would be like this. Not because I was born that way, because I've chosen to be that way. And so how do you build your positivity muscle? What is the dumbbell? What is the weight that I use to exercise and strengthen my positivity muscle? It's beauty. The relentless pursuit of beauty. See beauty when it's easy to be seen, but don't just see it, exclaim it. Even if you're on your own, speak it, say, wow, that is beautiful. Because when you speak it, you double it, right? I say, look at this lady's beautiful sparkly hat, you look so pretty. What I've done is, instead of just holding that beauty to myself, I've exclaimed it, and it's effectively doubled that beauty by, 150 people. Because your attention is drawn to it. See beauty when it's easy to be seen. Seek it when it's hard to find, because it will always reveal itself. In the darkest of places, beauty will always reveal itself. I promise you this. It might be the hands of a child as they put a letter that they've written on their grandfather's casket. It might be the dirty hands of a mechanic as he places his flowers on his wife's beautiful white casket. Beauty is always there. Whatever you perceive it to be, because beauty is subjective. It might be the smile. You might find beauty in the smile of your children. You might find it in a fast boat out on the water. You might find it on the golf course. You might find it in the crystal chandeliers or in flowers. Wherever you find it, seek it and you will find it. It will always reveal itself to you. And at all times share it, because as I've just explained, when we share beauty, we double it. Don't just hold it to yourself. Exclaim it. That's beautiful. You're beautiful. That colour looks amazing on you. Exclaim it. Look at that beautiful sunrise. I want to share that with you. The world needs more beauty. People say to me, you're so positive. How do you stay so positive? Well, let me tell you this. The art of positivity is not about denying reality or turning a blind eye. It's not about being naive or putting your head in the sand and just being fluffy. It's about choosing beauty and goodness and grace at all times, because the most positive people aren't the ones for whom life has gone perfectly. They're not. They're not the ones who have sailed through life and they're just like, woo, positivity. It's not like that. They know only too well the harshness and the cruelty of this world. And they've walked through the fire and they've walked over those ashes, over those hot coals, and they've come out the other side, and it's beauty and positivity they choose to share with you. Negativity screams loudly. We do not need to focus our attention there. Negativity screams at us. Positivity comes more quietly. It's powerful. It's powerful, and it's right there. So remember that. So I will, in summary, leave you with this beautiful mantra or poem that Stephen Gillette wrote in about 17 something or other, a long, long time ago, but it's just as valid today. I send my son off to school with these words every morning. I say, I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good thing, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness I can show to fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer it, nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. I shall not pass this way again. See it, seek it, share it. Beauty is powerful and it is a tool. Build up your positivity muscles and go, well, can you stand with me just for a moment? Can you agree with me that we are so lucky to be alive and so lucky to be in this space? Can you say yes? Can you agree with me that this has been the most amazing day of connection, of getting together, of meeting new people? Can you agree with me? Can you say yes? Yes. And can you agree with me that positivity is a strategic advantage? Yes. Thank you.